G'day, I'm Ash, and welcome back to War Thunder. It's been a little while since I've actually done a video on this game, considering it's been about 2.5 weeks, maybe, probably. And if you're wondering what's going to be happening with the channel in 2019, I highly suggest you go and watch my previous video, Crash with Ash episode 31. That'll tell you what is coming and what is going to be changing about the channel. But unfortunately, that's not what we're here to talk about today. And no, it's not going to be about the Javelin either. As much as this thing is a pretty looking flying Dorito and is just gorgeous, in War Thunder I've heard this has had a very, very mixed opinion. The flight model is not correct, it rips and overloads constantly. The really only big benefit to having the Javelin is the fact that it's got 4 air-to-air missiles, and compared to, what, the F-100? Yeah, I think the F-100's a better choice for that. Even though the MiG-19 only gets 2 Sidewinders, the Javelin gets 4, and that's really the only redeeming quality. But I've been playing so much high tier recently, I just thought, hang on, let's take a step back and actually, just play some low tier. So, I could go out with the Boomerang, except I've done too many videos on the Boomerang in recent times. I could go out in the Beaufort Mark 8, however, it's a bomber, and bombers in War Thunder are broken beyond all hell, and either broken, unbalanced, and really don't have a role or place within War Thunder, and that's kind of sad coming from a bomber pilot. Hell, there's some bomber blitzkrieg videos I did in Ju-88s with, mass formation, etc., that I did 3-4 years ago in bombers like this. I could go out in the Beaufighter Mark 21. It's a rank 3 battle rating 4.0. It's got cannons and guns for days, and it's just a sleek, gorgeous looking aircraft. Or it's been 11 months, and I could just take out the Wirraway. So, we're going to do just that. This is a rank 1, battle rating 1.3. It's armed with 2 7.7mm Vickers E machine guns, and it's got a single rear gun, which is a 7.7 as well. Of course, you can carry bombs, although generally speaking, I don't use these until later in the match, as I prefer to play this aircraft as a bit of a fighter. So, let's jump straight into a game. Now, I've jumped in with a squad mate of mine, Elder, and we're going to go and shoot some planes down. I love the Wirraway so much. It's such an interesting vehicle. It's hard not to really like. And, well, for those who don't know, the Wirraway is an Australian-built North American Aviation NA-16. Basically, the Wirraway is a cousin to the well-known T6 Texan trainer and the Harvard trainer. And, well, all 3 aircraft are built from the same ancestor, the NA-16, which flew in 1935. However, Australia decided that, the American versions of this aircraft weren't good enough, and here we can see demonstrating the Australian capabilities in flight. Surprisingly, this aircraft does well upside down, which really, really shocked me, but it doesn't want to roll itself back over. However, it can be at a bit of an issue because the engine loves cutting out at a certain point in time. So this is what Australia is like when you go flying. A few months ago, this particular aircraft got a nerf. Now, I don't know what version War Thunder has based this particular aircraft off, but considering the fact that the Wirraway was built in 3 distinct versions in Fisherman's Bend in Melbourne, with deliveries between July 1939 and 1946, we actually built 755 Wirraways by the Commonwealth Aircraft Corporation, but we made 3 versions, the Mark 1, the Mark 2 and the Mark 3. Now, the Mark 1 was for the first order of 40 aircraft, and also included 10 spare Wasp engines, so, there's that. We go through the versions, and we changed out how we wanted our Wirraways. Now, the Mark 1 had 7.7s, the Lewis machine guns, the aircraft versions, although the rear gunner got a full Lewis gun, so this is what we have in game. But previously, we were believed to have the Mark 2 version of the Wirraway, as I go in and kill a HS-123. Very close to his aircraft hitting me, but it was alright. Anyway, we're going to turn around here. Now, it's quite odd to me, considering the fact that they keep changing the flight model of this thing. It used to do really well in dive, and granted the Mark II and Mark III were actually better than the Mark I because they had reinforced, wing sections and retrofitted basically the whole entire aircraft. The Mark III is the one that is of interest. If another Wirraway is going to come to game, maybe we'll see the Mark II and Mark III, but the Mark III has 2 forward-firing 50 cals and 2 7.7 Lewis guns at the rear. And from what I can tell, according to the Wirraway 79 technical instructions, 184 technical orders were issued relating to changes in the structure and equipment on operation of the aircraft. So Australia didn't sit idle while using this aircraft, that's for sure. So apart from the major, variants, many detailed changes were made and introduced to individual aircraft as they went through their scheduled servicing. In fact, there is a modification for this aircraft in which we mount underwing guns. So 50 cal, we remove the rear gunner position completely, cover that up, put 2 50 cals on the nose, and mount 2 50 calibers under the wings. And we did a strange amount of things with the Wirraway. I'd just love to see that in War Thunder. Anyway, we're going to try and see if we can get a couple of shots on. Oop, hang on, we're getting engaged here. I'm going to pull right around. He could have easily knocked me out there. Anyway, we're just going to do a loop over, see if we can catch this guy. We're bleeding speed like no tomorrow. This move probably wasn't the best, and he gets taken out anyway. Right, let's roll back over, and there is a HE112. He's going to attempt to go head on. I'm going to go head on with him. A bit of a risky move there. I should have died. Anyway, no time for talking. There's a CR32 that we're going to engage. Nearly ram a friendly here. CR32 pulls up. Perfect opportunity. Boom. Knocked out his pilot. The idea to play with the Wirraway here is that it has to be a mobile vehicle. It is rather maneuverable. It is quite slow, however, and really sluggish. The engine does overheat quite quickly, as it is a bomber engine. Its primary role is a light support ground attacker, kind of, a close air support vehicle. Even in ground forces with the Wirraway in your lineup, it's still quite an effective vehicle. However, you won't penetrate much with the 7.7s on the top. I mean, we're going to go head on with this KR-43. Thankfully, he pulls off. That would have been absolutely devastating for me. He goes into the vertical. I'm trying to catch up with him. I've got my flaps in combat here. I'm not doing it. So I'm just going to flail my aircraft around and try and regain some of that speed that I lost in the climb chasing him. The aircraft is extremely heavy, but it's also quite nimble. And the wingspan of the vehicle is extremely long. Also, another interesting fact, many of the parts for the CAC Boomerang were borrowed from the Wirraway. While this aircraft was actually intended for training purposes and was never meant to, well, it was just basically a general purpose trainer aircraft, the Wirraway was used in combat against the Japanese Zeros in the desperate defense of Malaya in New Guinea, with terrible losses. However, the principal contribution in a trainer in the Army cooperation duties in New Guinea, Wirraways remained in the Royal Australian Air Force as advanced trainers until being replaced by their CAC Winchell in 1958. The first direct combat for the Wirraway with the Royal Australian Air Force against the Japanese forces occurred on January 6, 1942, when No. 24 Squadron Wirraways were sent to intercept several Japanese floatplanes near New Britain. Of the entire flight, however, only one was able to engage enemy aircraft, and this with no confirmed kills. A few weeks later, however, Wirraways from the same squadron were back in action against the Japanese fighters, well, in bombers in the defence of Rabaul. The Wirraways, however, suffering heavy losses, only downing one of the Japanese aircraft, and well, it was attributed to the guns of that Wirraway pilot. Surprisingly, a Mitsubishi A6M0 fighter. Additional Wirraways were placed over the skies of New Guinea, but the aircraft was reduced merely to a ground support platform or a ground attack platform in support of ground forces in the region. Despite this, the Wirraway continued in service until the Curtiss P-40 Warhawks could be delivered in sufficient numbers from America. CAC itself could bring, well, online its more impressive Boomerang dedicated fighter platform to help solve the fighter crisis. After all, the Wirraway was really almost Australia's indigenous fighter until the Boomerang came along. Now I've severely fucked up here and I'm about to die, so I'm going to end the video here. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.